farmer Dan here. Welcome to Casanova Cottage. In today's video I'm going to show you guys how I set up my seedlings. Spring's only around the corner. I know you're thinking we're still in winter, you crazy man, what are you talking about? But now's the time to start things like your tomatoes, anything of the nightshade family, which is tomatoes, chilies, capsicums, eggplants, anything like that, guys. Even time to start chitting potatoes. That's when you take your potatoes, sit them on a windowsill or in a slightly sunny spot and force them to make those eyes. Normally you'll grab a bag out of the cupboard and they'll have all these weird vines going on them. They're the eyes, guys, and those potatoes have already started to sprout, and it just gives them that head start on, so when you plant them in the spring they're already miles ahead. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how I do my seedlings, and how what containers I use, and what trays I use and how I do them. So guys, this is the substrate I use. I use a good quality seed raising and cutting mix. I highly recommend using a good quality one, guys. Don't go for a cheap and nasty alternative, because low germination is not something you want. Sort of wasting your time and throwing your money away by doing this. So if you guys would have seen in my last video, I showed you guys how to harvest a worm farm. If not, I will link it, put it in the notes on this video. This is the worm castings, guys. What I do is I take some of this stuff and I mix it through my potting mix, and I then plant into that, and this stuff really is dynamite, guys. I mix it through and it gives a really turns a high quality mix into something that's 10 times better. So all it is a matter of just mixing it through. Take a couple of handfuls, mix it all through. Don't need too much, guys. All it is just adding a bit more water retention in there and a bit more nutrients for the seedlings. Try and bit like if you've made pastry, bit like working butter through flour. Probably the best explanation I can give. And all it is, you're just trying to mix it in, guys. Yes, I have made pastry. So guys, we live on the far south coast of New South Wales. We're just in mid-July at the moment, and now is the perfect time to start those spring seedlings. I wouldn't go starting anything of the larger seeded variety, like your beans and your cucurbits, which are like your melons and your cucumbers and stuff. They don't take long to germinate, guys. They're actually really quite quick, and you don't want them to be too far along by the time you go to plant them. It's otherwise you'll end up at a disadvantage. They'll be quite overgrown unless you want to keep potting them on into larger pots. Those sort of things I usually leave till a later day, probably middle of August, maybe even a week into August is when I'd start doing things like the larger seeds, like the cucurbits. But for now, guys, is the time to start doing all your nightshade. So that's, remember, tomatoes, capsicums, chilies, and eggplants. So yeah, so I'll show you guys how I start mine. And I'm actually trying a new variety this year called Crimson Crush. I use a lot of Mr. Fothergill's seeds. For those of you in Australia, you know Mr. Fothergill. I don't know what big brands you have in the US. This is an F1 hybrid, guys. So what that means is if I was to keep seeds from this, I would not get this same variety out of the seeds. I would get one of the two parent plants. Now when you see F1, guys, it's not some weird mutation, it's not GMO, genetically modified. It's selective breeding, guys. They've chosen a certain mother plant, a certain father plant, paired the two together. Normally when, so this one guarantees it's the first completely blight resistant tomato. When I seen that, I couldn't resist, because blight is quite a problem, guys, especially if we have quite a wet spring and summer. Blight, you have a very high chance of blight there, and once blight starts, guys, very hard to stop it, and you can lose your whole crop just from blight. So with this, I won't be keeping the seeds. That is the catch. You do have to buy these year after year. There's only 10 seeds in the packet, so not a lot of seeds in there, but look, I always try something new every year, guys, and I highly recommend you do that. If you've only got a small plot, just try one different variety every year of one thing that you love, whether it be cucumbers or tomatoes or capsicums or something, guys. So every year I experiment, and this is this year's experiment. Last year was a variety called Gardener's Delight. Sun Gold. Last year was a variety called Sun Gold, guys, and they were absolutely amazing. They were small orange cherry tomato. I'll definitely be growing them again this year, but this year Crimson Crush is the choice. So guys, I want to talk about the things that I don't do in seed trays. Carrots is one, guys. I always grow my purple carrots as well as the orange. The kids love the purple. And I'm a big believer, different colours bring different nutrient values, different beta carotenes and vitamins. So I try to grow a variety of colours of vegetables, guys, not just always green or red. I have purples, oranges, yellows, you name it, guys. I try and grow lots of different varieties. So I direct sow carrots. I've had excellent results from my direct sowed carrots, guys. If you distort or disturb carrot roots at all, even in the slightest, you will end up with twisted and forked carrots. That's the last thing you want, guys. So I always cringe when I see people buy punnets from local nurseries for carrots. Guys, I highly recommend sowing them by sowing the seeds of carrots directly into the garden, guys. Much better results, I guarantee it. The only issue is you must keep them moist. So a lot of people fail with carrots through germination because they allow the soil to dry out. The moment the soil dries out, the carrots stop germinating, guys, and you've pretty much wasted your time and money. So all I do is I make sure every day I'll give them a quick water, just up and down. Don't have to soak them. Just keep that soil moist, guys, and you'll have awesome results with carrots. Cucumbers, zucchinis, guys. I try to direct sow them. I just have better results with direct sowing of the larger seeds. Watermelons and rock melons, I try to direct sow as well. I'll normally do a couple of punnets, and so what I'll normally do with those is I'll do them in the larger seed containers, and I'll put 4 or 5 seeds in that, and whoever pops up is the lucky one to go in the garden, and that gives me a head start. So I will experiment with those by putting them out in the garden. If we get a frost and I lose them, I will also have ones that I plant after putting these in the ground, ones that I will plant in the ground. And if I have too many, I pinch out the ones I don't need, but it just gives me a bit of a guarantee, because slugs and snails, guys, they'll eat the seeds just as they're germinating under the soil line, and you won't even know that they've done it. You'll be waiting and waiting and waiting and wasting your time waiting for those seeds to pop up. So these are the trays I use, guys. They're 198 cell seed trays. They're quite small. You wouldn't be leaving the seedlings in there for long because they will run out of nutrients. They do dry out fast, guys. I try to water them every day. In the greenhouse, they do stay a bit more moist because of the humidity inside of the greenhouse. So what I do, guys, is I'll plant them in these, all my nightshades. I'll plant them in these just as they start to develop their first true leaves. I'll prick them out, and I will then put them into these, guys. I know you're thinking that's one giant container. Into these containers here, guys, and they will get a new batch of seed raising mix or compost, and that gives them a second growth. They'll then get larger roots, become stronger, and I do plant my tomatoes a bit deeper, guys, because they do bear roots from their stems. So that's the second grow out. If required, if I was to really be planting them a lot earlier, guys, or the weather just wasn't warming up and they were starting to outgrow these, then I would look at then on planting my tomatoes into these as well, guys. Just to get them through that fresh compost or fresh seed raising mix, just to get them through till they're ready to go into the ground when the soil temperature warms up a bit more. So I'll show you guys how I do a quick demonstration of my plantings, how I label, and then I think that'll do us. So guys, for my seed containers, I just have repurposed a repurposed makeup box of my wife's, a repurposed lunchbox, and a repurposed biscuit tin. I break my seeds down into 3 categories: spring and summer, all year round, and winter. And in that way, I just know exactly which container to go to at what time of the year. You don't have to do that, guys. You can have them all in one container. It just saves the sorting and the sifting out, that's all. So I need my spring and summer. These are my goodies. Yes, these were clean specimen jars, I promise, guys. So guys, what I do is I take a dibber and I go along and I indent every single hole, 198 times, but that just gives me a start for my seeds to go into. So guys, I think people run into a lot of trouble with germination of seeds by planting too deep, and also by not planting deep enough, guys. So what you need to remember is that when you do water them, the seeds will rise a little bit up, and so if you haven't planted them deep enough, guys, the seed will actually rise up to the soil surface, and that's definitely not what you want. They do need to be submerged in soil. So I normally go a little bit deeper, and then what I'll do, so this actually has increment markings on it to about the 2 inch, that's not 2 inches, sorry guys, the 1 inch mark and the 20 mil mark. So yeah, so I'd normally take it to about the inch mark, guys. I reckon an inch is deep enough. Normally, rule of thumb is 3 times the 3 times the size of the seed is the depth that it should be planted at. Very hard to sort of gauge it when it's a little seed like an eggplant seed. But yeah, it's a bit easier when it's a bean seed. But yeah, so I'll go along and do all this, guys, and I'll be with you in a second. So guys, best advice I can give you with seeds is don't waste your time trying to plant things that are out of date or close to the expiry date. Some things actually hold quite well. Things like tomato, the germination rate will still be quite high even when expired. But guys, something that you want to work 100%, or at least 80-90%. You know, you don't want to be wasting your time on low germination rate seeds, putting them in and getting out of 30 you get 2 or 3. You don't want that, guys. You're wasting your time and money by doing that. So that's probably the best advice I can give you guys, is every year buy fresh seeds, unless some seeds have a 2-year window. Those ones are all right, but if it's a 1-year window, guys, at the end of the season, throw them out. Or if you want to experiment, throw them in a garden bed that you don't use much, and see what comes up. Otherwise, yeah, guys, buy fresh seeds. So guys, as I was saying before about the F1 hybrids, these Eden Seeds, really good seed company, guys. I don't get paid or endorsements for this, but they do non-GMO, open pollinated, and non-hybrid seeds. So these seeds, if I kept the seeds from these tomatoes, I will get the same strain year after year. So I do grow, not everything I grow is F1 hybrids, mainly corn. Very hard to find non-hybrid corn. But for the tomatoes, the only catch with this, guys, being open pollinated, if I have these near another variety of tomato, there is a chance they can cross-pollinate and give me, once again, it won't be the parent plant, it'll be a new type, a new cross. So that is the only risk with planting these. But for this variety here, Amish paste, guys, these are the ones I do my pasta sauce with every year. I do Amish paste, or San Marzano is the other one. I normally put in about 50 of these, guys, so it's no mucking around, quite a bit of sauce. But yeah, so I plant these away from a lot of the other ones, so the risk of me getting cross-pollination is quite low. So guys, the best way I found to plant my seedlings, I've used many devices, guys, is to keep a plant label. It's a bit of dirt in here because the seeds actually just fell on the floor, and I didn't have my camera on. Would have made a lovely blooper. There was actually a hole in the side of my container, and they all just fell on the floor. So I'll just pick out the bits of rubbish out of there. Alright guys, so the best way I found to plant my seedlings was by using an old plant label. This is Sunshine Blueberry. And what I do, guys, is I put them on there. I then will take either a plant label or a pencil or anything like that, and all I'll do, guys, just want to make sure we get this, is I'll take the amount of seedlings I want and I will then put them straight in the hole. And guys, I found this to be the easiest method rather than trying to handle them by hand. If you only want to do one, you've got the control. If you want to do two, if you want to do three, this is the easiest control, guys. The hardest seeds are probably anything of the brassica family, the broccolis and cauliflowers and all those, because they roll really, really well. But I've gotten pretty good, guys. I normally get a swish every time. Yeah, I don't miss quite that often, guys. So I'll go along and I just put them all into the holes. And guys, you do for the amount of rows that you would like to do. So I do, this is capsicum. This is why labeling is so important, guys. That's capsicum seeds, and I'll show you now. And this is chili seeds, guys. Not much of a difference at all. And if I showed you eggplant seeds, there'd be no difference with the eggplant seeds either. So labeling is very important, guys. Just like a garden plan, please do not go off memory. You can hear that wind outside, guys. It's getting quite windy. Sorry if it comes through on the mic. But yeah, so label, guys, it is the most important thing you'll do, because you know, have I put in there? Yep. And pay attention to which one you've put them in, so you remember and don't double up or miss a hole. But yeah, guys, labeling is very important. So that's capsicums, guys. I will do only 2 rows. I've only got 5 seeds left. That'll be the end of these seeds. I'll probably end up turfing those out after it. So guys, this is all I do, is I write the variety. So it's capsicum with the, sorry, it's the type with the variety on the back, sweet bell, and the date that I did the planting, guys. Date's very important. Gives you an idea of how long roughly you should be anticipating before germination, so you know what germination percentage your seeds have. So I'll go on, guys. These are tomato seeds, slightly different to capsicum and the other seeds of the nightshade family. This is a variety called Rouge de Marmande. I've had really good results with these, guys. I highly suggest trying a wide variety of different tomatoes and find out what grows best in your area. Speak to some people in your area. I had an older gentleman tell me about Groslis. And he reckons of all the varieties he's ever planted in our area, Groslis did the best. So I'm not arguing with him, because he said he trialled it for over 30 years. I do so Rouge de Marmande is a more of a slicing variety, and I also make sure I do some cherry varieties as well. The kids love them and they're good in salads. And that's my new variety, guys, which I'm trying, that I said before, the Crimson Crush. So I'll be giving them a go as well. Only 10 seeds, so there's nine in a row, so it'll only be 1 row of the Crimson Crush. But I'll let you know at the end of the season how they went. So that's pretty much how I do my seeds, guys. Pretty straightforward. I found that by using the method of using an old garden plant label, folding it in half is really the best way to go, guys. You have the most control. You can pick the amount of seeds you want. I normally only do 2, maximum 3 seeds in a hole. If you have good germination seeds, guys, you really only need 2. 1's a bit hit and miss, it's a bit daring. 2 is a bit of a guarantee, guys. No guarantees, but at least with 2 you've got double the chance, I should say. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. Like, subscribe, Leave a comment, guys, if there's anything you guys want to see or want me to do a video on, or want to know how I do things here. Let me know, guys. I'm more than happy to do a video on it. More than happy to do some Q&A stuff, guys. If you have questions, send me an email at casanovacottage@gmail.com. More than happy to do a video on your questions, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.